Hello, this is Jamie Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get right into it. So first we have Listen to the Animals from Squidbillies from Adult Swim on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, honestly, probably a better news source than the alphabet media. And I think, if you want to listen to animals or just the wind or any news source, I think you should be able to. You should be able to believe whatever you want, and that includes whatever. If someone else thinks it's conspiracy theory, I think that's just their fault on it. Believe whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you what. Don't let anyone force you to believe something that you don't want to. I think so. That's my thoughts there. Now we have the zombies of the U.S. tax code. Why fossil fuel subsidies seem impossible to kill. Everyone agrees fossil fuel subsidies are a wasteful, stupid, and moving things in the wrong direction. Two of the biggest tax breaks have been in place for about a century, from NY Times, and that's across posts from the r/energy subreddit. And I agree, the government shouldn't be subsidizing anything. I personally am not as against fossil fuels as a lot of people are these days, but with that being said, I don't think the government should be subsidizing them, just like how they shouldn't be subsidizing green energy as well. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have cross-posting this because I can't not, and it's from Tequila Mockingbird, and that's cross-posted from the Social Libertarianism subreddit. It's a comic of two birds, and the bird of the libertarian colors of the little compass says, "I support Night Watchman State and free market with reasonable safety nets funded by LVT and Pigovian taxes." And then the other bird who says the whole political compass on them says, "Haha, look at this dude. He wants to discard every achievement of humanity and return to monkey." And the other bird says, "What?" And the other bird says, "I bet you just want to climb a tree and sing and sling shit at everybody who passes by. Ho ho, haha, am I right?" And the other bird says, "What?" And I personally would kind of agree with that. I think if people want to, I personally think we need as small a garden as possible, and I think, if you want to live as a monkey, I think you should be able to live as a monkey. But with that being said, I think, the government, we could have a small government, but sadly, that's just probably not going to happen in our lifetimes. And that's my thoughts there. Then we have Elon Musk's ex bans transgender Harvard lawyer for naming a neo-Nazi from Advocate.com by Skeptical Bob. And, yeah. I definitely do think that goes against his free speech promise, but with that being said, she did dox Stone Toss, and that's something that, the guidelines of Twitter explicitly prohibit, and that's important to remember as well. Ultimately, it is just kind of come down to freedom of association, even if it goes against free speech, I think. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, looks like I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives now. And I posted that, and I said, went to my county Libertarian Party meeting tonight, and they said they needed someone to fill the spot on the petitions for our House District PA5, and I accepted. Wish me luck. I added, I really have no chance of being Scanlon, probably the final member of the duopoly I ever vote for, which I did in 2022, mostly for societal class reasons. She's relatively becoming anti-war as for a damn, voting for the Syria War Powers resolution for that Gates put out, though she did vote to ban TikTok recently. The district is D plus 14 according to Wikipedia. Best case scenario is GOP gets so demoralized that they don't even put up a candidate, and it's just me versus Scanlon. Worst case scenario is the GOP sweeping off the ballot again like they did for State House of Representatives 2 years ago. I guess you never know what's going to happen though, and that's my thoughts there. So hopefully, I'll make the ballot this time. I don't have too much hope there, but we can always hope. I guess that's the thing there, and hopefully, I'll get a good chunk of the vote. That's maybe even win. I don't know. That's my thoughts. There. Then we have Republicans reject motion to impeach Joe Biden from Newsweek.com. And I said, all the recent presidents deserve to be impeached, but it really doesn't matter. They will just be replaced by someone else who's pretty much the same. Then we have Trump says he will support a national ban on abortions around 15 weeks of pregnancy from PBS.org from Swamp Yankee Dan. And I said, I've always been more on the pro-choice side, but you are never going to be able to solve the wedge issue that is abortion without offending a large group of people. The problem is that the vast majority of Americans support abortion with restrictions. The majority support it for the first term, but the number plummets for the second and third terms. And that's why, you're never really going to solve that issue, I don't think. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have a nuclear plant's closure was hailed as a green win. Then emissions went up from TheGuardian.com by Ninja Lover. And yeah, that just goes to show you that nuclear power is probably better in the environment than a lot of people, the green activists make it sound like. With that being said, that's why they don't care for it. They don't want sustainable energy. They really just want to completely reshape society according to their interests. And that's why I don't really trust them. And that's my thoughts there. Then we have more NY Times propaganda, and I posted that, and that's an archive link from the New York Times, and it's a headline from their section of the Shift. Reddit's IPO is a content moderation success story. The site's journey from toxic cesspool to trusted news source illustrates the business value of keeping bad actors at bay. And I said, interesting how most users of the site agree that it's gotten worse, while the New York Times seems to think it's gotten better. Really makes you think. The article was about how Reddit was bad when it was committed to free speech and became good when it eschewed it in favor of being an astroturfed hellhole full of nothing but DNC propaganda. And, that's why, I think the stock market likes it. The stock market, Ninja over here says, the stock market says it's good. It says Reddit's doing great right now. But I said the stock market always says what's objectively correct. Sarcasm. That's the thing. If you Reddit is a great example of how if you can eschew, you can throw out your old views in exchange for profiting. And yeah, I don't like that. Hopefully the stock fails as soon as possible. That's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Sandra Chase Alice, stripper, Satanist, congressional candidate from Taxation is Theft on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, I was interested to see if my House representative had ever run against another Libertarian before, and I found that she did in her 2018 special election. This is why I love the LP. It definitely has all sorts of interesting characters. I don't think I'll be posting any naked selfies like she did, though. Then we have U.S. Border Patrol gets overrun by migrants rioting to get across the border, or that's across post from the actual public freakout subreddit by Ragnar OKXG. And I said, I didn't comment on this one, but yeah, I personally am always been more for open borders. With that being said, it's important to realize that, I personally think the problem with the border is that we have an inherently collectivist border security right now. I think, we should be focusing more on individual borders. I think if people want to have a border and defend it, I think they should be able to. With that being said, I think everyone should focus on their individual borders first and foremost. And that's, like personal space and all that. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Don't Let Them Hold You Hostage from Ragnar OKXG. And that's the meme of the man with the ski mask is holding a gun to someone, and he's labeled Democrats, and the gun's labeled Republicans, and the person he's holding guns voters. And I said, I'd agree with that, very much. It's pretty much the same. They're pretty much a uniparty. They work in tandem rather than against each other. Despite that's how they kind of play themselves as being very against each other. I think they're more in tandem than they allow people to use it and then how they market themselves. And that's my thoughts on that issue. They're both gonna probably get pushed for the total state with just some minor differences, and that's why I think people should focus on the most rather than just their differences. Then we have, in case you doubt the literal mindedness of NPCs, consider the fact that they have more of an issue with Kyle Rittenhouse crossing state lines, as if airplanes don't exist, than with his assailants having raped kids and slapped their grandma, from Michael Malice on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, they only believe what the TV tells them, and the TV said, Rittenhouse bad. It's really as simple as that. Ultimately, I don't think Rittenhouse should have been there, but, he did have the right to self-defense. And and they said, and I got some comments here. What about victim blaming? I said, if someone killed Hitler before he committed suicide, would that make him a victim? That's the thing. It's the heat of the moment. If someone attacks you in the street, you probably would try and defend yourself too. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Rittenhouse said he was friendly, but they charged him anyway. And I think Rittenhouse had every right to self-defense. And that's my thoughts there. And they're also like, everyone disagrees with me as NBC. Dehumanization is not a good look. I said, you call everyone disagree if you Nazi or fascist, but I guess that's good dehumanization. So that's my thoughts there. Then we have Europe battles avalanche of disinformation from Russia from Tom 14. That's a ghost archive link from the Financial Times. And I said, they have really been pushing for censorship recently. Those in positions of authority can declare whatever they want to be Russian disinformation and censor it accordingly. It might lead to some deaths, but because some disinformation might lead to deaths. But that being said, people are going to die, and sometimes you just have to cope with it. Safetyism is no excuse to upend liberty, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Governor Cox signs bill to include 10 commandments in Utah public school curricula, address legal person from ABC4.com, from Clorox, and that's crosswords from the In the News subreddit. And I definitely do think this is the government overstepping its bounds. And I don't think they should have 10 commandments in school. I think if the teachers want to voluntarily teach the 10 commandments, I think they should be able to. But I think forcing them to have it in the curricula is overly authoritarian, and that's what my thoughts on that issue. Even as a Christian, I would say, and that's my. Then we have include third-party candidates in 2024 presidential debates from Change.it, and that's from Ragnarok OKXG. And I would agree, we should have third-party candidates in for the presidential debates. I personally think, we probably won't have any more than RFK Jr. at the most, but hopefully at least he gets on, I don't even know if we'll have debates this year, but we'll have to see what happens. Then we have San Antonio touts success of Guaranteed Basic Income pilot program that sent out $5,000 from Gazette.com by Ninja Lover. And I personally support UBI. With that being said, it's important to realize that, it might contribute to inflation as we saw during the COVID handouts, and that's something that's important to remember as well. Then we have End Corporate Ballots from Ragnar OKXG from Late Stage Capitalism subreddit, and that's a post that says, the CNBC is tweeted, Jim Cramer says Boeing will run out of money if it's not saved, and Julia Alfie replies, maybe Boeing should follow that poor head having all that avocado toast. And I agree with that. I think we should end corporate welfare and government bailouts. That's something I'm very passionate about. If companies fail, that might leave some workers out of a job. But that being said, I don't think the government should be forced to bail out anyone for any reason whatsoever, really. And we have Parler's new owners swear this time will be different from Wired.com by Paton14, and that's a cross post from the Parler Watch subreddit. And I said, Elon buying Twitter made Parler and Gab kind of obsolete. Social media also tends to need people with varying political backgrounds so they can bully and be passive-aggressive to each other, which is why the aforementioned platforms didn't really take off in addition to stuff like Blue Sky, Threads, True Social, Mastodon, Hive, probably some other ones as well. I don't think Musk is perfect when he comes to free speech, but at least he markets themselves as defending free speech. That's more like I say for a lot of our heads of social media platforms. And I think we're going to wrap up there. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.